The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN Thursday, 8:30 a.m., 60 minutes to go until that opening bell. And we got markets starting off in negative territory yet again. Quite a day to the downside yesterday. Stocks extending those losses overnight, right near overnight lows. Right now, you're looking at an S&P futures. We're looking at minus 17 points, trading at 32.14. NASDAQ futures right now negative 114 points, trading 10,714. The Dow up 108 points, 26,577. The Russell flat at 1446. Commodities, crude oil down 10 cents at 39.83. Gold contract down $8, 18.59. Quite a day to the downside on gold yesterday. We make an overnight low of 18.51 in gold. Notes and bonds, there we are. A little bit of higher price, 2 ticks higher in the 10-year. Now make that 3 ticks at 139.19. The 30-year up 14 ticks at 176.29. We're looking at a 10-year yield right now of just about 0.66%. And gotta love it, Thursdays, 8:30 a.m., we get the weekly jobless claims coming in at 870,000. Folks, that's a stagnant number. We're pegging it at almost 900,000 jobs every single week, initial jobless claims. The expectation was for 850,000. That number just hit in the news at 8:30 as we came on the air. We'll see how the markets react to that number. Nonetheless, jumping around to where we've been. So here are the weekly jobless claims, okay? Excuse me, this was last week, and we just came in at about 870,000, folks. You can see the million line. We're just sputtering, just under a million jobs. Pretty remarkable when you think how long we've been dealing with this. We're going back to basically the end of March, beginning of April, prior to COVID. The greatest number of jobs on an initial claim basis was about 700,000. Folks, we're at 870,000 that just came in, and that number is not slipping below that level as it just continues. These are new claims on a weekly basis. 870,000 Americans in the last week filing for an initial jobless claim, losing their job. Tough deal. You jump over to the market, we're getting a little bit of negative slippage on that market. There you go. Just dipped below the lows that we had overnight to 32.08. We're back to about 32.13. Dicey market in this market. Things look a little bit scared as the market continues to slide. And we got the VIX now approaching 30 at 29.87. You see the climb that we had on the VIX yesterday throughout the day as the market escalated to the downside. All right, we'll jump into what we have going on across the board this morning. We'll jump right into some of the stories. So Gap, it's going to be an interesting morning for Gap shareholders, maybe Adidas. You got Kanye West out there threatening to withhold any products for the Gap line without a board seat. Folks, I don't see that happening, and I don't see, I'm not releasing nothing on Gap till I'm on the board. That tweet last night at about 1:30 in the morning, if you recall, Gap traded pretty dramatically higher, and there's no huge reaction so far in Gap. We got a bid ask right now, 1637 by 1650 after that, after that tweet. Well, putting things in context, folks, I believe that was the day that you got the initial announcement, because there was a huge pop. You had Gap trading at $14.50 prior to the deal with Kanye. You trade up to almost $17 the next day. And we're sitting at 16.55, and he's saying he's not releasing nothing until he's on the board, and I don't see that happening. So we'll see how that opens for Gap shareholders this morning. Excuse me. Okay. Jumping back to the S&Ps as we track things, seeing how the numbers are reacting. We were up to a high of 35.87 September 2nd. Quite the sell-off we had, folks. We have had lots of red bars across the board. Zooming it in for your daily, looking back where we are, folks, the highs of June, 32.31, we're now below that level, and we're now back to almost May prices. To be exact, May prices would slip you into the territory of a high of 3,058. We're approximately 50 S&P points from trading in May prices, and we're about to hit October, folks. Getting it all back in terms of those levels. Apple slipping into a technical bear market, 20% off the highs. Apple was at 137.98. We're back to 107.12. You back it up to where they came out with their earnings. You were trading prior to earnings at about 94. They did crush it out of the park at 94. Still quite a pullback. We're talking about $30 just shaved off the price of Apple since September 2nd. Talk about an acceleration. Checking in on some of the other FANG stocks. Amazon shares. I got a Fibonacci chart on them. 38% retracement. Bring it back to about 28.12. That's from the March lows all the way up to the recent highs of 35.52. But you're talking about $552 shaved off the price of Amazon shares. We're going to look to open a little bit lower this morning on Amazon. There's your action overnight. Tesla shares, after their battery day, continuing to slip in the overnight session from about 380 to about 369 so far this morning. All right, jumping back to what else we got going on in the markets. Where am I at? There we go. Okay, we still got earnings going on. Accenture, the consulting firm, they come out with their numbers. $1.70 a share, 3 cents below estimates. Revenue slightly shy of estimates as well. Jumping over to Accenture. There's the drop on them from 230 to 216 this morning on their numbers. EW Scripps, they announced a deal to buy privately held TV network ION Media, $2.65 billion. The deal is being backed by the one and only Warren Buffett. Berkshire making a $600 million preferred equity investment. He loves those preferred equity investments in Scripps to help finance the purchase. BlackBerry. Who's got a BlackBerry out there still? The software company. They're a software company now, not a phone company. Beat estimates by 9 cents a share. Quarterly earnings of 11 cents a share. Revenue above expectation. Strong demand for security and car software. Not familiar with BlackBerry car software myself, but you're getting a little bit of a pop from 480 to about 514 this morning. CarMax. So I want to get into this one. We talked about Carvana yesterday in terms of crushing it out of the park. Their two founders, the father and the son, worth tens of billions of dollars at this point. CarMax, not quite the same story on their earnings this go around. The used vehicle retailer earned $1.79 a share, well above the estimates of $1.08. Revenue also above estimates as well. CarMax saw vehicle sales rise by 3.9%, comp store sales 1.2%, and its financing profit increased by 29%. And this is where you got to be wary, folks, because check out that chart. Did you hear the numbers that I just gave you? They beat across the board, okay? But man, oh man, we just traded from about 107 to 100. We're trading at down about 6%, call it, on the session. For some context on CarMax, and there's your explanation. I mean, you just went from $37 up to 106. Even with these earnings trading lower, you're sitting at $100, which is right where you were pre-COVID levels on CarMax. Pretty interesting action. All right, folks, we're selling off. It's happening right now. 3203 in the S&Ps. We're down 28 points now. There's your drop off on those numbers. We're looking at a 15-minute bar. That bar started at 8:30 a.m. when I came on the air. We've dropped almost 20 points in the S&Ps. Not what you want to see on the extension of yesterday's price action, but here we are. Stay tuned, folks. It'll be an interesting morning in the markets. We got the markets selling off. We're down almost a full percent in the S&P futures after yesterday's slide. And we got more equities to go over when we get back. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back in 3 minutes.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The gold report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The gold report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the gold report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the gold report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&P's negative 27 points on the overnight session. We're trading down about 0.9% at 3204. Pretty interesting when you look at the action. You put it back on a daily. We're talking about now almost 400 S&P points, folks. That's a 10% pullback we're looking at in the S&Ps just basically in the last 3 weeks that we've been trading since that high made on about September 2nd when the escalation began to the downside on September 3rd. Okay, jumping back to that weekly jobless claims number that just came out at 8:30. So the headline number, initial jobless claims, 870,000. The market was looking for 850,000. Prior week, 860,000. Graphically, that's what we're looking at. We're just kind of sputtering along right now at 860,000, 870,000 initial jobless claims on a weekly basis. Continuing claims, okay? It's an important number as well, which include those receiving unemployment benefits for at least 2 straight weeks, decreasing by just 167,000 to 12.58 million. Now, continuing claims is for the week ended September 12th. They're a week delayed from the initial claims. Initial claims number we just got is for the week ended September 19th. Continuing claims dropping by just 167,000 to 12.58 million. Folks, it's going to take a lot of weeks of continuing claims going down by just 100 to 200,000 when we're currently sitting at more than 12.5 million. It's a big number, and it's not going down anywhere near where we need it, and it's probably not going to go down until we get a kind of normalcy to resume life post-COVID. All right, one of the stories that caught my eye out here, talking about airports deploying 30-minute virus tests to unlock travel. Talk about travel, not something a lot of people are very interested in these days in terms of having to go through an airport, sit on a confined space airplane. And one of the things that they may be trying to do is having to test everybody jumping on a plane. I think it's a great idea. I'm not up for flying on a plane right now. My mind might be changed a bit if I knew that everybody got tested. Now, if you got to travel for some reason, you can be safe if you're not in a high-risk scenario yourself. Yes, that makes sense. And this is just going to start being what's happening here in terms of 30-minute antigen trial underway in Italy, Heathrow also keen on that idea. You're going to have pre-departure checks as Finland turns to canines trying to figure things out. But nonetheless, you're going to see this become the norm, folks, I imagine, because airlines are really struggling. I don't think they can wait, or they don't want to wait at least a period of whether it's 30 minutes, 6 months, a year to get over COVID. You test everybody on the plane. Those tests aren't 100% accurate, but they're a lot better than no test, and it might give people the type of assurances that they want to start coming back to flying. Over in the UK dealing with their own spike of COVID cases, Europe as well. The British government announcing a new job support scheme, warns not every firm can be saved. That should be something that we're all aware of. So they're going to directly top up the wages of employees working few hours due to suppressed business demand, enabling workers to keep their jobs on shorter hours rather than being made redundant. It's going to run for 6 months from November. That seems to be the timetable that Europe's pushing out there, at least 6 months or so, with whether some of their restrictions that they're putting in place to pair some of the spikes that you're seeing as that shit takes shape in Europe. Another story out there, you've got some of the app creators joining forces to try and fight against Apple. Not sure that's going to matter, but you got Spotify, Fortnite creator, and Tinder parent Match join forces to challenge Apple's App Store fees. So they join the nonprofit Coalition for App Fairness. In fairness, folks, they're all apps. They don't want to pay that. They're all about fairness of being able to cut Apple out of their own system. We'll see how that shakes out. Apple, you could make the argument that they got quite a monopoly on their App Store, charging 30% to access anybody with an iPhone. I have an iPhone. A lot of people got iPhones. That's going to play out in the courts, and we'll see how that shakes out for Apple and all of those apps. All right, jumping back to some of the stocks with action this morning. More earnings in terms of Darden Restaurants. 28 cents a share for the latest quarter. The estimate was only 5 cents. Revenue slightly below the forecast, with sales during the quarter at about 82% of prior year levels. I was surprised to read that. 82% of prior year levels. That's a remarkable statistic when you think about how many restaurants Darden has. You're up this morning. There's the daily. Now, when you zoom it in, we're going to be trading at about $93 this morning. There you see the pop on their numbers, up a bit. That's pretty strong numbers. I would not guess that a restaurant like Olive Garden, I believe they got a couple others I'm familiar with. Seasons 52 they got in there. Texas Longhorn Steakhouse maybe. But nonetheless, 82% of prior year levels with everything going on. Pretty decent numbers when you consider how many restaurants are shut down for business. Rite Aid out with their numbers as well. Quarterly profit, 25 cents a share. Estimates, we're looking for a cent loss. Revenue also above estimates. Strength in both the retail pharmacy and pharmacy services segments. Rite Aid, checking out their action this morning, actually lower from $13.35 to $13.25 right now. You did spike to about $14.50 at one point on Rite Aid. Nikola, we got to get into Nikola. We talked about it earlier this week, folks. Who was buying Nikola on Monday and Tuesday? Talk about an acceleration to negative prices over the last 24 hours. Nathan Anderson, he's the head of the short-selling firm Hindenburg, told the Journal that more bad news will emerge. Now, keep in mind, they are short. They have a heavy bias to fill the news cycle with bad information. They're saying more bad info is coming, but they're the ones that put out the initial report that started this all. And Nikola, over the last 24 hours, folks, there you go. We opened yesterday at 28. We're trading right now at 18. Shaved $10 off the price. As we said, what was going on Monday? Who was running through the doors to buy this equity at $24 on Monday, shooting it up to almost 30? Who was buying it on the open yesterday at 26, shooting it up to almost 29? Now, maybe if you're making the shortest of short-term trades, talking about 15 minutes, an hour, but guess what? That didn't pay off on the open yesterday. You would have bought it at 28. It was a one-way elevator ride to a close of 21.15, and even overnight, you're down basically another 10% at 18.88, and I would be very wary. We talked about at these levels, the company was worth like $10 billion, I think, when it's just you have the CEO stepping down, allegations all over the place, and nonetheless, we're down from 28 to about $18 this morning on Nikola. All right, Goldman Sachs, we'll jump to them. They got an upgrade to buy from neutral at UBS. Said Goldman is already generating solid results in the current environment and could benefit further from election-related volatility. Goldman, 187.87, up a bit from the 186 close yesterday. We'll jump around to some of the banks that have had a tough week. JP Morgan, talking about $1 billion fine for spoofing. It's remarkable, these banks, folks. They're basically just manipulating markets to the tune of billions of dollars. They get fined $1 billion. They go on and move about their business. JP Morgan basically flat, down a bit from 92.74 to 92.50. Bank of America will check in, basically flat as well from 23.26 to 23.30. But it's been a tough week for those bank stocks. All right, checking back into the markets as we come into this break. S&P is holding at basically this lower level, just above 3,200 at 3,206. You get the NASDAQ off 150 points right now, 10,679. The Dow, 26,515. We're entering the realm that we could get a 25,000 print in the Dow yet again. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back in 3 minutes. Finish up the program.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&Ps negative 26 points at 3205. Looks to be an interesting open after the acceleration we had yesterday, after initial jobless claims coming in at about 870,000. Checking in on the VIX this morning, above 30 now. A little bit of fear being priced into this market with that VIX above 30, and we're now approaching almost 400 points off of the highs we had in the S&P. All right, jumping over to the election briefly. President Trump, some tough comments out there last night talking about refusing to commit to a peaceful power transfer post-election. Not really surprising to hear that rhetoric out of the president, folks. What I'm going to talk about, though, is what to expect, okay? Now, he's talking about we're going to have to see what happens. We're going to have to see what happens. Blames mail-in ballots for uncertainty over results. It's important to be informed of how this election is going to shake down, folks. Bloomberg has a great article over here talking about Pennsylvania potentially being one of the cases that's going to be the highlight after the election. And really what to consider here is that many states have rules where counties cannot begin counting mail-in ballots until Election Day. Pennsylvania, one of them. That was decided by 44,000 votes in 2016. Election laws allow for ballot challenges and appeals to drag on, okay? But all of those votes do not start getting counted until the election. And Pennsylvania may not be alone. Wisconsin and Michigan, two swing states, also can't begin processing mail-in ballots until Election Day. But Pennsylvania, 20 electoral college votes, highest odds of any state in terms of being in play there. What they also talk about here in terms of the number of people requesting ballots and the number of people that are going to be processing them, okay? And it really gets into a dicey scenario where you're probably going to see a potential for at least the results not being available on election night, whether it takes a few days or a week to come in. Get ready for it, folks. Get ready for the VIX. You had Interactive Brokers yesterday increasing their margins ahead of the election. They're telling you that they're afraid that there's going to be so much volatility that they need their investors to have more money up. So get ready for it, folks. Mail-in ballots, they're a real deal, and they count, folks, all right? And they count whether they're counted on that day or the day forward, as long as they're in there. I'm going to be voting by mail. So is the president.